Again on your sacred sofa. So tonight we're doing the text, section 11 of chapter 15. This one is. It's called Christmas as the End of Sacrifice. So
almost midsummer.
Yeah, in midsummer. But we have a bit of there's a bit of a leeway in the year's program for once we finish the text in the manual for teachers. Then there's a bit of leeway to do some other stuff at the end. There's a couple of months spare, so we can have a look at it again over Christmas. There's actually two. That yesterday's was also referring to Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's kind of leads on from that. And Sally was like, "Oh wow, that's really given me a whole different perspective of Christmas." We just did one paragraph.
Okay. One paragraph.
One paragraph. Yeah. So that was good because she kind of stayed for it and she was like, "Oh, okay, actually, yeah, there's actually a lot of value in the text as well. It's not just the workbook." All right, so Christmas is the end of sacrifice. There's the first paragraph. Do you want to read? It's not too bad tonight. It's 9 paragraphs, so a bit to do, but it's not a 15-paragraph monster. So if you want to read it through, and then we'll do a translation.
Fear not to recognize the whole idea of sacrifice as solely of your making, and seek not safety by attempting to protect yourself from where it is not. Your brothers and your father have become very fearful to you, and you would bargain with them for a few special relationships in which you think you see some scraps of safety. Do not try longer to keep apart your thoughts and the thought that has been given you. When they are brought together and perceived where they are, the choice between them is nothing more than a gentle wakening, and as simple as opening your eyes to daylight when you have no more need of sleep. So I think there's some sentences there that we could maybe just shuffle a bit.
Do not fear. Do not fear. To recognize the whole idea of sacrifice is solely of your making. And do not seek safety by attempting to protect yourself from where it is not.
Yeah. Your companions and your source have become very fearful to you.
And then the second one, and do not seek safety by attempting to protect yourself from where it is not. Do you understand that?
Don't attempt to protect yourself from
where it is not.
Yeah, where you can't find, don't seek safety where it doesn't exist.
Well, it's a bit more subtle. Like protect yourself from where it is not. You protect yourself from the idea of sacrifice from where it is not. So the sacrifice is actually not outside of you. You think that we have to protect ourselves from loss by defending ourselves against various illusions on the external, don't we? But actually don't do that. Don't try and protect yourself from where the idea of sacrifice is not, because it's in your own mind. It's solely of your making.
Very good.
So that's what he's saying.
Right.
Your companions and your source have become very fearful to you. And you would bargain with them for a few special relationships. So should we change that to want to, and you want to bargain? Is that a general? Do you think that's better? Would
you want to bargain with them for a few special relationships in which you think you see some scraps of safety? Yeah, that works.
I think want to is just a bit more direct, isn't it? You want to bargain with them. So a few special relationships. Does that need a comma in which you think you see some scraps of safety? I don't think that needs a comma actually. Do not try longer to keep apart your thoughts and the thought that has been given you.
Yeah, do not try any longer.
Any longer, okay. Do not try any longer
No.
to keep apart, to keep your thoughts and the thought that has been given you apart.
Yeah.
Sound a bit better?
Yeah.
Keep your thoughts and the thought that has been given you apart. So that thought, I mean capital T, is actually referring to pure formless awareness.
Yeah.
It's nothing other than the thought of love. And the how about that? Pure formless awareness that has been given
Better.
heart. Or the true awareness. We could shorten it and say true awareness. What do you think? Keep your thoughts.
Do not try any longer to keep your thoughts and the true awareness that has, yes.
Given you apart. I think that works quite nicely. Okay.
When they are brought together and perceived where they are. And perceived together? No, when they are brought together and perceived
where they are.
Where they are, yeah. The choice between them is nothing more than a gentle awakening. And as simple as opening your eyes to daylight when you have no more need of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that needs no more need of sleep. It's okay.
It's okay.
Need of sleep, need to sleep.
Need of.
Need of sleep. Yeah. Oh. And then she yawns.
I know. Yes, of course.
mention the word.
So I did. Unconscious.
Mention the word and like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, this is the time at about 9 o'clock you start to get that sleepy feeling generally. Because you wake up quite early, don't you? You wake up.
I do. And I'll see how long I go tonight. It was quite tempting just to think, actually, I might like just to go to bed with a book. But here I am.
Here you are with a book.
Yes, I know. And the
translating
disappearance of the universe. So hey.
Yeah. You're reading that, okay? Yeah. Is that the first time you've read it?
I'm just reading it with different eyes.
So you read it before a few years ago.
Yeah, and it feels completely bossy to me.
What's he doing?
Oh, I was just being unconsciously helpful, and then I suddenly woke up and said, "Do it yourself." Yeah. So that first sentence when he said, "Yeah, you don't need to protect yourself." You don't need to protect yourself from an external force because the sacrifice you're making is in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the illusion the ego points. The ego creates that you need to defend, protect yourself from loss, and the loss is coming from outside of you.
Yeah.
Some kind of threat externally, and so we set up this mechanism of defense, which makes fear real, makes attack and fear real. By defending. So protect yourself from where it is not. Protect yourself from where the idea of sacrifice isn't. It's not actually outside of you. It's in your mind.
It's in my mind, yep.
And it's solely of your making.
Yeah.
What you see externally that seems to be demanding sacrifice is a projection of the belief in sacrifice. And sacrifice is fundamental to the ego's thought system because that's how it came into a seeming existence. It was like, I have to sacrifice oneness, truth, in order to have an existence. So absolutely fundamental to his existence is the idea that my entire existence is based on the principle of sacrifice. Something had to be sacrificed for me to exist.
Mhm.
And that sacrifice must be maintained for me to exist. So entrenched in its thought system is the idea of sacrifice and loss, and the guilt for that. Fear and guilt come, attendant to that. So this is why in today's lesson he's saying, well, just see the world for what it is. How can you make a thought system based on sacrifice work? It never will. You just have to see that very clearly. Okay, so any other thoughts on that paragraph?
In number 4, when you want to bargain with them for a few special relationships, it's like fighting for scraps, isn't it? Oh yes, and then he says some scraps of safety. It makes it all very kind of demeaning and little again.
Mm.
My energy is going into just, the special relationship, be nice to me kind of thing. I need your protection. It's all so little.
Yeah. And that we think is our safety in this world.
Yeah.
Special relationships. But
Yeah.
just another form of littleness.
It's a littleness.
Try any longer to keep your thoughts and the true awareness that has been given you apart. So give your thoughts to true awareness.
Yes.
The thought, he means, but I think it's more helpful to say true awareness.
I think it is.
The thought, okay, so what's that thought? The thought of love, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But actually it's just an awareness.
Mm.
It's given you apart. Now brought together and perceived where they are. The choice between them is nothing more than a gentle awakening. Try to keep your thoughts and the true awareness that's given you. So when they are brought together and perceived where they are, the choice between them is nothing more than gentle awakening. As simple as opening your eyes to daylight when you have no more need of sleep. So these thoughts, the small t, are the ego's thoughts of separation. And you bring that to true awareness, and you must make a choice. Choice between them is nothing more than a gentle awakening. Simple as opening your eyes to daylight when you have no more need of sleep. So it's just like, well, I see those thoughts for what they are. They're not true, and why did I ever believe them? It just becomes completely obvious that these are not your true thoughts, and you don't want them. And so the true awareness sort of takes over and then guides your thoughts. You're still thinking, but your thoughts are changed.
Yeah.
More aware, more loving, more peaceful, more joyful, more helpful,
more natural.
Yeah. More natural, not all laced with all the dysfunction and the drama, and just a simple. And then he's got a nice image there, gentle awakening.
Oh, yeah.
Your eyes to daylight when you have no more need of sleep.
Yeah.
So just okay, you've done with this. You can wake up, you open your eyes, and anyone can do that. We all just wake up naturally.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's painting the picture of.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, happy with that one?
Yeah. Come on, baby.
So moving on to number 2. This one looks like we need a bit of translation.
Right.
Do you want to translate as we go?
Yeah. The sign of Christmas is a star, a light in darkness. See it not outside yourself, but shining in the state of pure formless awareness within.
Okay, so do not see or perceive in that instance.
Do not perceive it outside yourself.
Do not perceive it. But shining in the heaven within, in the state of pure formless awareness within.
and accept it as the sign, the time of awareness of oneness has come.
The Christ is the what? Christ is the self, the true self.
True self.
Yeah. So time of true self or real self, time of the one self.
The one true self.
Yeah, time of the one true self. Yeah. The one true self. Do you think we're over egging it there? One true self or just true self or just one self?
Well, it is Christmas.
Oh, the one true self has come. Okay.
The true self. The true self is enough.
The true self. Yeah. The true self has come.
Yeah.
So it comes demanding nothing.
No sacrifice of any kind of anyone is asked by it. In its presence, in its presence, the whole
Presence is
idea of
okay.
sacrifice.
Yeah.
The whole idea of sacrifice loses all meaning, for it is host to pure formless awareness.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love. So host. So it is host to pure formless awareness of perfect love. So it is for it leads to, maybe? Think that's better?
Wasn't expecting that.
It leads to pure formless awareness of perfect love. For it, what does he mean by host? It means that this self brings the experience of pure formless awareness of perfect love into your mind. That's what he means by host.
Mm-hmm.
How do we express that is the question in words. It leads to pure formless awareness of perfect love. It leads to an experience for identifying with it. Identifying with it.
Oh, yeah.
Leads you to, leads you into, leads you, brings about, engenders, gives rise to, gives rise to an experience of pure formless awareness.
Yeah.
Perfect love, maybe just pure formless awareness. Gives rise to an experience of identifying only with it. Gives rise to an experience. Gives rise to the experience of pure formless awareness. What do you think? Instead of host to God.
For identifying only with it gives rise to the experience of pure formless awareness, and you need but invite it in, who is there already.
And you only need
that works.
What? Only need?
No, there's 6. Identifying only with it gives rise to the experience.
Oh, do you think that kind of works? Because host to God, again, it's one of those like, so what does that actually mean? For he is host to God. Okay, Christ is host to God. Like, okay, so what does that actually mean? Well, what it means is identifying with that one self will bring about the experience of pure formless awareness of perfect love in your mind. That's what it actually means. But I think that's kind of obscure in he is host to God. It's not really
Yeah.
spelled out. So
Yeah.
you only need to invite it. In who is there already. Invite it in who's there already. So it's and who. You only need to invite what is there already. How about that? Invite
You say that which
the presence. Invite the self. Invite the true self. How about that? So invite the true self that is there already.
nice. By recognizing that it's
Recognizing that its host is one. Experience of. Let's just have a look. So his presence. For his host to God. So he is, that's the true self, Christ we're talking about. You need but invite him in who is there already by recognizing that his host is one, right? So him is God. Yeah, would you agree? And no need but invite him, host to God, who is there already by recognizing that his host is one. He is host. So the host is the Christ, or the true self.
yourself.
And you only need to invite. So 7, you only need to invite, not the true self, to invite an experience of pure formless awareness. I mean, to invite the experience of pure formless awareness that is already there by recognizing that its host is one, that it has one identity. It has one identity. It has one self. The pure formless awareness is already there by recognizing that it is associated with, compatible with one identity, with one self, compatible only with oneself. No thought alien to its oneness can abide. No thought alien to its oneness can abide with him being the presence of pure formless awareness, with pure formless awareness. No thought alien to its oneness can and abide in. What do you think? Pure formless awareness of perfect love. Oneness can abide in pure formless awareness of perfect love. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable? You want to read that sentence again?
And you only need to invite experience of pure formless awareness that is there already by recognizing it is compatible only with oneself, and no thought alien to its oneness can abide in pure formless awareness of perfect love. Very good. I felt muddled by that.
Or can abide in it. Does that confuse things? You only need to invite the experience of pure formless awareness that is there already by recognizing that it is compatible only with oneself, and no thought alien to its oneness can abide in it. He uses it with. Should we use with or it? Can abide with it. Can abide in it.
Usually abide.
Well, abide in it. So,
well, it's, yes, that's okay.
Well,
that's okay. Yeah, it's more than okay.
Okay. Happy
Okay.
to move on. Love must be total.
Yeah. To give it welcome. For the presence of holiness creates the holiness that surrounds it.
Okay, so holiness is
Oneness.
Pure formless awareness, I would say. And it's capitalized, so presence of pure formless awareness creates the holiness that surrounds it. So I think that needs to change to extends. Extends the true awareness. True awareness that surrounds it. And I think that should be capitalized. They have small, but we're talking about the same awareness. It's the Father, pure formless awareness, extends the true awareness that surrounds it. Extends the true awareness. Surrounds it. The true awareness surrounds it. Extends the true awareness that extends the true awareness that is it. That is. What do you think? Should we keep surrounds? Extends the true awareness that.
Yes, that's okay.
Is an extension of it. Keep surrounds. Okay.
No fear can touch the host who cradles God in the time of Christ, who touches the.
So the host is the true self.
Yes.
That's the true self.
That cradles.
That cradles God in the time of Christ. Okay, so we need a bit of translation there. Say the true self that
Carries.
cradles God, that holds God. God is pure formless awareness of perfect love. So let's do that and see what's the most appropriate. It gets a bit tricky.
Recognizes.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love. Maybe recognizes could work. Fear can touch the true self that cradles, that it's more than recognizes. What he's saying is it engenders, really. The true self that engenders maybe that's the right word. What do you think? It engenders the experience of pure formless awareness, of perfect love. We'll take away. Engenders the experience.
Mm.
Because that's really what we're talking about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
True self, if you really identify with that one self, that must bring about the experience of pure formless awareness.
Yeah.
In the time of Christ, in the time of the true self, time of the true self. Because I think that's what the time of the true self he's talking about is Christmas, the true meaning of Christmas, Christ Mass. Jenna's experience of pure formless awareness in the time of the true self. For this self, the host, this self
That's good.
is as holy as the perfect innocence. He is as aware, maybe, as aware as the perfect innocence which it protects. Is as aware as the perfect innocence which it protects, and whose power protects it. Okay, so the perfect innocence is pure formless awareness, another name for that, which it protects and whose power protects it. So the perfect innocence protects the Christ, the one self. The one self leads to an experience of perfect innocence. So the two work hand in hand. So Christ, identifying with Christ, the one self, leads you to God, being the experience of total, pure, formless awareness, total love, which then makes a lot of metaphysical sense, doesn't it? Otherwise, I think a lot of people get a bit confused about, well, what's Christ, what's God, what is this actually about? And this is all pointing to the experience that it leads you to. So identifying with the one self, the Christ, leads you to God because it brings about the experience of pure formless awareness of perfect love inevitably if you identify with the one self. And that's really what we're trying to communicate here.
Right. Right. Identification with the one self.
Yeah. And that becomes the way that you invite pure formless awareness.
And that way we can invite pure formless awareness. So the first paragraph was about I crucify myself. Yeah, I experience the loss. I don't need to protect myself from the perception of others doing it to me. It's within. Yeah. And the second paragraph is about identifying with the Christ, the true self, the true self that will point the way to pure formless awareness.
Right. So we celebrate, Yeshua's birth into the world because it represents the birth of this self, someone who identified completely with the self, and was the example of it.
And the whole story about following the star, is that following? That was the pointer, the one true self, pointing to pure formless awareness.
Yeah. Sign of Christmas is a star, a light in darkness. So the star points you to the truth.
Yeah.
Through the darkness, the whole thing's actually a metaphor, isn't it? So you look at that whole Christian, how Christ is born, and they've got to seek him out and find him in the darkness, and it's dark, and they've got to follow the light. There's a star that then points to the manger where he's born. It's all symbolic. It's saying, in the darkness, the seekers, the wise men and the shepherds are looking for the Christ, and the star in the darkness, the light in the darkness, shows it to them. And then And then they go to the manger, which is very humble, and they find this babe, and that's like the innocent true self, that's now be
Yes.
reborn in your mind. So the whole thing's actually symbolic of an awakening to the true self. And then we celebrate that. We celebrated um, the birth of Jesus, but it's really the true meaning is it's a celebration of the rebirth into our true self. The recognition of that in our minds leads to the awareness, then pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is God. If you put it in these terms, it does give you a very different perspective on Christmas, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Mm.
And then the whole idea about gifting other people, really, wouldn't it be amazing if we were all celebrating, ourselves?
Well, so the true gift, as I think in yesterday's, he pointed out the true gifts are the peace and the love and the joy that you have. That's the true gift to give. Remember, I was listening to David Hoffmeister the other day. He said, "Well, I just take guidance from Jesus, and so I'm going to my niece's birthday party, and I didn't have a gift. I wasn't sort of directed, so I rock up without a gift, and he's kind of going, okay, well, I'm not sure how this one's going to go, but." And so she says, "Uncle David, where's my gift?" And he says, "Well, I didn't bring one." He says, but he says the real gift is that we get to spend time together and we have so much fun together and we have laughter and happiness and joy. She kind of thought about it for a moment and she said, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's go play then." And that was it. So it's again, it's a devolvement into form. What's happened with Christmas is a devolvement into form, isn't it? Instead of giving gifts from the heart and going, why don't we just spend really quality
Yeah.
time together and just give each other love and stay in a state of harmony and peace? The ego's devolved it all into materialism. So it's now you've got to give gifts, multiple presents,
Yeah.
uh, and then food
And I think,
food and drink. You
yes,
got to like feed your
yes,
face and drink yourself into a
yes.
stupor, and that's what a lot of people experience as Christmas.
I think that we can over provide so that we keep ourselves safe from criticism of being stingy or mean, and that goes right back again to the
Uh,
first sentence.
yeah,
Feeling less than worthy, just being yourself, and say, "Hey, I'm the gift, the
yeah,
gift of Christmas."
yeah. And if we spend a
You
nice
get
day
my
together,
point. Yeah,
the real gift is let's spend quality time together. It's a time of
yeah,
rest. You spend the time together. You have a nice experience. Sure, have a meal, but you don't have to over egg the pudding. Literally, it's like abundance of. And some people just go, it's totally over the top, isn't it? The amount of food and
yeah,
drink. So
yeah.
it's like a simple meal, and you enjoy each other's company, and maybe you spend some quality time together, and that's enough. You don't actually need the material gift.
Hmm.
But of course, the ego's hijacked it, and retailers everywhere are like, "Oh, great, Christmas is coming, sales are going to go up," and so that's become now the default way we celebrate it. But it isn't actually got anything to do with the true meaning of Christmas, which he's pointing out here. The true mystical meaning is the awakening to the true self that Yeshua represented, and celebrating that, and giving gifts, from that self to others. Okay, so we want to read that
Right.
from the top. I think that might be useful because there's quite a bit of
Yeah.
that was quite a tricky paragraph actually.
It is. It is. The sign of Christmas is a star, a light in darkness. Do not perceive it outside yourself. So the light is within. Yeah. But shining in the state of pure formless awareness within. And accept it as a sign the time of the true self has come. Yes. So my true awareness has come.
Should we make that your true self? What do you think? Make it
Yeah,
about yourself.
yeah, exactly. That's much better.
No, your true self.
It comes demanding nothing. So no gifts, no Christmas cake,
Yeah.
no sacrifice of any kind of anyone. So nobody needs to stand in the kitchen all for 3 weeks, preparing a meal for me. No sacrifice of any kind of anyone is asked by it. In its presence, the whole idea of sacrifice loses all meaning. For identifying only with it gives rise to the experience of pure formless awareness. And you only need to invite the experience of pure formless awareness that is there already by recognizing that it is compatible only with oneself, and no thought alien to its oneness can abide in it. Yeah. So no criticism of self, no feeling of loss or sacrifice. There's no space for that.
No. And I think maybe we should make this, because we got its oneness. So its is talking to you about the one self, can abide in, and then I think we need
Pure formless awareness.
Yeah, I think we need that there. Because otherwise you get confused as to which it it's speaking about.
Yeah.
Abide in. Pure formless awareness. Perfect. Or should we just keep it as pure formless awareness? No, I think that's pure formless awareness of perfect love. And then he brings in love. Love must be total to give it welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Love must be, how about instead of total, perfect? That's quite good. Love must be perfect to give it welcome. Presence of pure formless awareness extends the true awareness that surrounds it. Be perfect to give it welcome. Love must be perfect to give it welcome.
To just the expansion that goes on.
Yeah. Love must be to give its so is he talking about to give it? Love must be total to give him welcome to his oneness, can abide with him there, to give him welcome. So is he talking about here the him that is the host? Gets confusing, doesn't it? His host is one. Love must be total to give him welcome, can abide with him there. No thought alien to his oneness can abide with him there. He is host to God. So he's talking about Christ here. He is host to God. He's host. Love must be total to give it welcome. So it's talking about the one self, the true self. Love must be perfect to give to give it welcome, to welcome the true. To welcome. Love must be perfect to welcome the true self. The presence of pure formless awareness extends the true awareness that surrounds it. The presence of perfect love extends the true awareness that surrounds it. Perfect to welcome the true self. Let's read it again. Love must be total to give him welcome, for the presence of holiness creates the holiness that surrounds it. The presence of, we need pure formless awareness. Presence of pure formless awareness creates the holiness, extends the holiness, extends the true awareness that surrounds it. Surrounds. Love must be perfect to welcome the true self, for the presence of pure formless awareness extends the true awareness that surrounds it. Maybe he's referring, instead of the small it, the true self. Extends the true awareness that surrounds
the
true self. I mean, that's what he's meaning, isn't it? Gets a little complicated with all the hymns and holiness and the capitalizations. Like here, I think a lot of people read this and they go, I don't know what he's talking about. It's like, who's who in this who? Yeah, I don't know.
Just skim over it.
Ultimately, it's all one. But does that make sense? Let's read again. Love must be perfect to welcome the true self. For the presence of pure formless awareness extends the true awareness that surrounds the true self. In the presence of the pure formless, how about the pure formless awareness? The pure formless awareness of perfect love extends the true awareness that surrounds the true self. So this pure formless awareness of perfect love at the core extends the true awareness that surrounds the true self. That kind of does make sense, doesn't it? To welcome the true self. Because that's kind of what he's saying here. Love must be total to give him welcome. Love must be total. So is that him, the host, can abide with him? His oneness can abide with him there. Is that him, the true self? Was that him, God? That's the question. What do you think?
I think it's the true self.
Well, it's not exactly clear, is it? So, and no thought alien to his oneness, right? So that's the host to God, which is Christ. Let's track it through. His oneness is the self, oneself, can abide with him being God, for he is host to God. Abide with him, so that's God. Then love must be total to give him welcome. Now, is that referring to God, or is that referring to the one self? What do you think? It's not clear.
No.
The presence of holiness creates the holiness that surrounds it. Okay, I think let's go with the true self. Love must be perfect to welcome the true self, for the pure formless awareness of perfect love extends the true awareness that surrounds this self. So it's like Christ is the extension of God. The one self is the extension of this perfect love. Extends the true awareness that surrounds this self. What do you think? Does that make sense? Or we over-egged it?
I'm a little over-egged. Love must be perfect to welcome the true self. For the pure formless awareness of perfect love extends the true awareness that surrounds this self.
Kind of makes sense.
Yes, it does. I see it visually.
So the love at the core, this perfect love, so that's the ultimate foundation, to welcome the true self in. Okay, so from perfect love, the true self comes in to give him welcome. Love must be total. Now that him is the self.
Yeah.
The Christ, I think it's referring to. The presence of holiness creates the holiness that surrounds it. I think this makes a lot more sense. Love must be perfect to welcome the true self. For this pure formless awareness of perfect love, so this love is referred to, extends the true awareness, the holiness that surrounds this self. So it's kind of the source that then extends, and the self, the oneness, doesn't contradict it. It allows this true awareness to extend and surround the self. So there's a kind of a natural extension outwards of this awareness
Yeah,
coming from source. I think that makes
yeah,
sense. Okay,
good.
go with it.
All
If anyone
right.
disputes it, then it might be an interesting conversation in future.
Yeah, okay.
Uh, no fear.
Okay.
Next one.
Okay. No fear can touch the true self that engenders the experience of pure formless awareness in the time of the true self, for this self is as aware as the perfect innocence which it protects and whose power protects it. Okay, so no fear, because the true self is engenders the experience.
Maybe instead of agendas, invites the experience. That could be good. What do you think?
No fear can touch the true self that invites. Okay, yeah,
That's better, I think.
yes, invites the experience of pure formless awareness in the time of the true self.
Yeah, I think maybe that needs a bit of translation.
Yeah, that's a bit.
In the time, well, he's the time of Christ. He's referring to Christmas, isn't he? That's the time of Christ. The time of the
Oh
awakening.
yeah,
Time of the awakening to the true self. For this self is as aware as the perfect innocence which it protects and whose power protects it.
yeah,
So this perfect innocence is the perfect love. This self is as aware as that innocence which it protects. So identifying only with the one self protects this pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is perfect innocence, and whose power protects it. So there's this reciprocal relationship. The one self leads to awareness of pure formless awareness of perfect love, and pure formless awareness of perfect love has a power that protects the one self, the identification with
mhm,
oneself.
yes, it's that lovely circularity again.
Yeah. So Christ leads to God, and God supports Christ.
Yeah,
They're actually one, although we have separate ideas in this world. They're actually just aspects of the oneness, this pure formless awareness that can be helpful in the dream.
mm-hmm.
Ultimately, they collapse into one experience where there's no Christ and no God. There's no concept of a true self, and then the experience of pure formless awareness of perfect love. It all merges into one awareness, and
Yeah,
that's it. But as we awaken, this idea of a true self can be quite helpful. I think that's why he uses it. So rather than I'm going into the nothingness, the void, which was the Buddha's approach, just blank your mind, and in that awareness will arise the truth, and there's no self. The doctrine of Buddhism is no God, no self. This is saying, no, there is a true self, and this one true self, the Christ, or the Buddha, if you prefer to call it that, although possibly that's not correct because the Buddha didn't have a conception of a self. So the Christ nature, this one self, this gives rise to, this supports the experience of this pure formless awareness, which is the void that the Buddha pointed to, the nirvana. He said, nirvana was his name for heaven,
mm,
which is pure formless awareness, which is the state of pure formless awareness that we call heaven.
mm.
So I think Yeshua uses it as a training device, like anything. It's a device that will help us to get closer to this pure formless awareness of perfect love, till finally, God takes the final step, and we merge into that awareness. But the Christ concept, the one true self idea, can help us in that awakening, which is why he's using it. Okay. Happy with that? So, any thoughts on that? Can you summarize that?
Ah, ah. the star is the pointer to the one true self. This is the time for the awakening to the one true self.
Yeah.
And through that identifying with the one true self, I experience pure formless awareness.
Yeah.
And then I see the circularity, the identification with the true self, protected and welcomed and becoming merged with pure formless awareness, which surrounds and protects it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a circular loop. It's like
Yeah.
the one self leads to the experience, and the experience of it confirms that this one self is true and protects it, and the two go hand in glove. It becomes a circular loop, self-reinforcing, until eventually they merge into one. You know, the training wheels are over, it collapses into one awareness. There's no thought of, oh well, I have a true self and I have an awareness. It's one complete experience, one awareness.
Good.
And that's kind of what he's trying to say here, which I think we've got down, and I think that translation is better than the original in terms of communicating that. So there's only reason to do it. Okay, happy to move on to number 3.
Yeah, a short one.
Yes, that was a difficult paragraph, that one.
That's huge.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just thought of Sue. I thought of Sue going, Sue, summarize that. I just imagined her laughing and going,
Yeah.
that's good. Alternatively, okay, so alternatively, this Christmas.
This Christmas, give the Holy Spirit everything that would hurt you. Give the remembrance of oneness. Eating your beard. Everything that would hurt you. Let yourself be healed completely, that you may join with it in healing.
So that, put in a so there. So that you may join with it.
And let us celebrate our release together by releasing everyone with us. Leave nothing behind, for release is total. And when you have accepted it with me, you will give it with me. Yeah. This is much more straightforward language, isn't it? Saying a similar thing. When you accepted it with me, you will give it with me. All pain and sacrifice and littleness will disappear in our relationship, which is as innocent as our relationship with our source and as powerful. Pain will be brought to us and disappear in our presence, and without pain there can be no sacrifice, and without sacrifice love must be there. Love must be there.
Presence. Should we keep that small or little? I think that should be presence. Capital. What do you think?
Pain will be brought to us and disappear in our presence.
Caps rather than small?
Yeah, caps. And without pain, there can be no sacrifice.
Yeah, so pain and sacrifice go hand in hand. Without sacrifice, their love must be. Without sacrifice, their love must be. I'm going to change that to there
must be love.
There must, and without sacrifice, their love must be. There must be love.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another way of saying it. Their love must be. There must be love. Oh, slightly changes the sense of it.
No, don't change it then.
No, I think we keep it. Their love must be.
Yeah.
As it is, because otherwise it changes the meaning of it subtly.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting exercise in languages, isn't it? Because the subtleties of these words.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to read it from the top? See how that goes.
This Christmas, give the remembrance of oneness everything that would hurt you. I was just thinking, I was sort of hearing a travesty of that, in these really blaring, loud adverts that start around September, October.
Hmm.
Imagine a quiet one saying that this Christmas, give the remembrance of oneness everything that would hurt you. Let
Yeah.
yourself be healed completely so that you may join with it in healing, and let us celebrate our release together by releasing everyone with it. Wow, with us. Yeah. So as we forgive ourselves and as we let go ourselves, our own self punishment, we release everyone with us.
Yeah.
Leave nothing behind, for release is total. And when you have accepted it with me, you will give it with me. So you will join with pure formless awareness.
Yeah. Imagine a
And
campaign. So if I was a billionaire, you know what I'd do? I'd sponsor a marketing campaign to go, okay, so let's actually market this.
yes,
And
yeah,
get people like totally different perception of Christmas.
that
Not
would be
necessarily trying to
brilliant.
sell them anything. It's like
Yeah,
just see it differently. And
yeah,
yes, okay, I guess there's a course, and if this resonates, dive into it. But you use Christmas and actually market the message rather than a product or service.
yeah, brilliant.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what it's really about. I think it would be quite popular. I think people would resonate with it. A lot of people, I think, find Christmas quite dark. They
Oh,
find it
yeah.
a difficult time to
Many,
get through. Hmm.
many, 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 but the marketeers just won't have that.
Hmm. Oh.
God.
Well, that all that commercial stuff will go on, but imagine if you had actually, this is the true meaning of Christmas. Let's celebrate the true meaning of Christmas, and that's in the marketing, and you're putting that out, and then it's like, oh well, if this resonates with you, then in January, February, join a program, and it's the start
Yeah.
of life. I mean, amazing. Yeah.
Well,
We'll see. Probably not this year, but who knows?
you never know.
You never know.
Never
You never know
know.
what the spirit has planned. But I'd love to do something like that. It'd be such
That
fun.
would be
Imagine planning a marketing campaign on, okay, we want to market the true meaning of Christmas here, and on a mass scale because we've got like a budget of a few hundred million. How do we do that? It would actually be so interesting.
need to work with a spiritual agency, but then you'd have to, oh my God, it could be huge. Everybody would have to have a crash course in letting go.
Yes, yeah, in understanding it. Well, maybe you just create your own agency.
Mm.
Course in Miracles marketing agency, populated by people who've done the Art of Letting Go course.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not? We'll see. I'm working on some stuff which, if it comes off, I might actually have quite a bit of money to play with. So
Brilliant.
let's see how it
Ah,
goes.
okay.
But I just, you think of this, you think what a different take on Christmas that would be.
It would be amazing. Releasing everyone with us, leave nothing behind. For release is total, and when you've accepted it with me, you will give it with me. All pain and sacrifice and littleness will disappear in our relationship, which is as innocent as our relationship with our source and as powerful. Pain will be brought to us and disappear in our presence. Imagine that. Bring all your pain, bring all the, yeah, and disappear in our presence. And without pain, there can be no sacrifice. And without sacrifice, their love must be. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
That's a nice. That's a nice passage. As you say, quite simple. He goes from incredibly complex with all the hymns and
Yeah,
his and him and etc. to a beautiful simplicity in the next paragraph. That's how the course goes, isn't it? It's like
yeah,
different.
yeah.
Their love must be. Okay, so we're happy with number 3. Do you want to give a summary of that?
Yeah, Christmas give the remembrance of oneness everything that hurts and harms yourself. Allow yourself in the joining to be healed, and in your healing you release everyone, and in the joining we release everyone. The release is total.
When you've accepted it with me. So when you've accepted the release with me, you'll give it with me. And I wonder if we want to change me, the personal me, to the Christ self. You've accepted it with just changing. Accepted with the true self, because really Jesus is, it's not a personal self. When you've accepted it with your true self, you will give it with. What do you think? Or are we changing the meaning too much? Give it. You've accepted it with your true self.
You will give it with your true self. When you've accepted it with your true self, you will give it with your true self.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But the me, sometimes he uses this personalized me, like, okay, Jesus as a me, small m. Maybe just to feel like, to get people to realize, okay, well, I'm not alone, and Jesus is with me.
Oh.
So it's more of a personalized, connection than the true self, which is a bit more abstract. What do you think?
I like it. You have accepted with your true self. You will give it with your true self.
Work. I mean, it does make sense.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. So it stays then.
Okay, good.
Well, any other thoughts on that? Last couple of sentences.
Pain and sacrifice and littleness will disappear in the innocence, which is the relationship with Source, and as powerful. Pain will be brought and disappear, and it disappears in our presence. Therefore, there is no sacrifice. And without the sacrifice, there can only be love.
This needs to change in our presence. We're talking about me. All pain, sacrifice, and littleness would disappear in our relationship. Give it with your true self. All pain and sacrifice and littleness will disappear in this relationship. So this relationship between you and your true self will lead to pain, sacrifice, and littleness disappearing, which is innocent as our relationship with our source, as so he's talking about our relationship, and then the true self is kind of brought in as innocent as your and your. What do you think?
All pain and sacrifice and littleness will disappear in this relationship, which is as innocent as your and your true self's relationship with your source, and as powerful. Reads okay?
Pain will be brought to us. So instead of to us, pain will be brought to. Pain will be brought to and disappear in this presence. I think that's nice. Your source. Disappear, true self's relationship with your source. Pain will be brought to disappear in this presence. This presence, the original. then the pain will be born, disappear in our presence, disappear in this presence. Without pain, there can be no sacrifice. Without sacrifice, their love must be. Okay? What do you
Good.
think? Does that work? I think just read it from all pain and sacrifice. Let's see all that.
All pain and sacrifice and littleness will disappear in this relationship, which is as innocent as your and your true self's relationship with your source, and as powerful.
With their source, maybe. You and your true selves, with their, because it's referring to the two, isn't it? Your and your true self's relationship with their
Yes.
source.
Yes.
Or do we want to simplify it and just say innocent as your relationship with your source? But then we're leaving out what he's trying to say here is that the combination of this,
Yeah, exactly.
our Father, so all pain, well, this will disappear in our relationship.
Yeah,
So it's the idea of the Christ symbolized by Yeshua as the me, but actually that me is really the true self. So that's how we've translated it.
Spell it out.
Yeah.
Is as innocent as your and your true self's relationship with their source.
Yeah. Do you think that's explicit
Yeah.
enough?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's important not to pare it back too much.
Yeah. In this combined presence, maybe. In this joint presence. In our presence, it's a joint presence of you and your true self.
Yeah.
United with Source. And that means that there can be no sacrifice. Without sacrifice, their love must be. So pointing to the end of sacrifice. Christmas is the end of sacrifice. You can bring all of your pain into this holy relationship and have it all healed.
Yeah.
Okay, happy with number 3?
Number
4. You who believe. I'm going to read that.
You who believe that sacrifice is love must learn that sacrifice is separation from love. For sacrifice brings guilt as surely as love brings peace. Guilt is the condition of sacrifice, as peace is the condition for the awareness of your relationship with pure formless awareness.
Perfect love, maybe? Or should we go with pure formless awareness? With pure formless awareness of perfect love. Let's do the full Monty show. If we can, I think that's how we decided to do it. Pure formless awareness. Okay.
Through guilt, you exclude your source and your companions. From yourself. Through peace, you invite them back, realizing that they are where your invitation bids them be. Yeah. Yeah. What you exclude from yourself seems fearful, for you endow it with fear and try to cast it out, though it is a part of you. Who can perceive part of himself as loathsome and live with himself in peace? And who can try to resolve the conflict of the state of pure formless awareness? and victimhood. In him by casting out the state of pure formless awareness. And giving it the attributes of hell, of victim.
Maybe just casting pure formless awareness out, I think. Because we already said state, haven't we? So
Yes.
it's a bit clumsy, casting pure. And giving it the attributes of
victimhood without experiencing himself as incomplete and lonely. Yeah.
Okay, you want to read it from the top?
You who believe that sacrifice is love must learn that sacrifice is separation from love. For sacrifice brings guilt as surely as love brings peace. Guilt is the condition of sacrifice, as peace is the condition for the awareness of your relationship with pure formless awareness of perfect love. Through guilt, you exclude your source and your companions from yourself. Through peace, you invite them back, realizing that they are where your invitation bids them be. What you exclude from yourself seems fearful, for you endow it with fear and try to cast it out, though it is.
How about stop? I've just seen realizing that they are.
Sure.
How about
Where you invite them to be.
Yeah, much simpler, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yes. Who can perceive part of himself as loathsome and live within himself in peace, and who can try to resolve the conflict of the state of pure formless awareness and victimhood in him by casting pure formless awareness out and giving it the attributes of victimhood without experiencing himself as incomplete and lonely.
Does that need a comma? Is it better without a comma, without experiencing? Who can try to resolve the conflict of the state of pure formless awareness and you read it again and then get to that and let's see.
Who can try to resolve the conflict of the state of pure formless awareness and victimhood in him by casting pure formless awareness out and giving it the attributes of victimhood without experiencing himself as incomplete and lonely?
Doesn't need a comma because you just went straight from victimhood to without, didn't you? There was no pause. Oh. So if we take out the comma and get the attributes of victimhood without experiencing himself as incomplete and lonely. So we try and cast out. Well, you summarize it. What's he saying here?
Well, that if I believe that sacrifice is love, then that's it. Sacrifice inevitably brings guilt, as surely as love brings peace. And why do I feel guilty if I'm in sacrifice? Because I feel that I am incomplete or not worthy. It's a condition of guilt is a condition of sacrifice. But peace is the condition of my relationship with pure formless awareness. In guilt, I exclude source and everyone from my companions from myself. So I isolate myself, and through peace, I invite them back, realizing they are. If I see them as myself as innocent, then they are innocent. I invite them to be innocent with me. I see their innocence. If I try to exclude what seems fearful, and I make that part loathsome, fearful, even though it's part of me. Yeah. But so what am I trying to do here? Exclude from myself my my guilt. Yes. And I make that fearful, even though it is a part of me. I perceive it's a part of me. And in that perception, I am not at peace. All right. And then he changes direction a bit. It's a bit of a right-hand turn here.
Yeah.
Who can try to resolve the conflict by casting out love and give it the attributes? Right. So if I try to throw out the baby with the bathwater, if I try to sacrifice love, yeah? How can I prevent myself from experiencing loneliness?
Mm.
So I'm throwing out the wrong thing.
Yeah. So we try and get rid of the pure formless awareness and giving it the attributes of victimhood. Wow, I mean, it's a total, like, how does the ego even try and pull that off? But it does.
Oh yeah, I've
How do you give
experienced
pure
that.
formless awareness the attributes of victimhood? I mean, that's quite something to think that
Yeah.
you can attempt to do that. But this is what we try and do. We look at pure formless awareness and we go, oh, this is threatening. This is frightening. I fear it. This is a condemning presence.
Yeah.
And so I give it the attributes of victimhood, and I experience myself as incomplete and lonely when actually pure formless awareness has nothing to do with any of that. That's the ego. But this is how this insane thought system works. It gives the truth the attributes of itself and says this is now the truth, and offers it to us for our belief. Right? It's
And then
rather
I'm protecting that.
Yeah.
That guiltiness, that loneliness,
Yeah.
accepting it as my lot.
Mm.
And that's often assails people at Christmas, doesn't it?
Well, I think that's because it seems to be everyone seems to be so happy, which everyone isn't really, but it seems to la-di-da, and everyone's shopping, and there's Christmas music, and there's everyone's singing carols, and then the darkness just arises more strongly, and they go, I'm really feeling pretty separated from all of it.
Oh my God, you got to get this £1 billion marketing money.
We'll see, but it could be really interesting, couldn't it? I mean, imagine if just a total reinterpretation of Christmas, which is probably the biggest commercial festival on the calendar, isn't it? I mean, that Christmas is like, and you go, okay, let's go into the heart of the ego, this whole commercial marketing, and use it to propagate and teach a message of like what is Christmas actually. I mean, it could be so interesting because no one really understands what Christmas is.
It could be amazing. I don't know if you know about John Lewis. Yeah, you will know about the John Lewis Company, and the John Lewis ad is the highly anticipated event of the Christmas season.
Really?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it has. Oh, have you seen the John Lewis ad? And every year.
So what's in the John Lewis ad that makes it so
special? It's different every year. It's different every year. There is some message, some extraordinary film that I mean, I really don't watch a huge amount of telly, but the chat that goes on about cleverness of the John Lewis ads, and wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
If
well,
this year or next year.
Yeah, it raises awareness.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, people are like, oh wow, okay, that's given me like just Sally's, like we did one paragraph of the text yesterday. She was like, oh wow, that's amazing. I've just like changed my perception of Christmas. completely. I think no one really understands what this means.
No.
It's been lost in translation, and we just kind of go, okay, well, another Christmas, and Christmas means presents, and it means singing some carols, and it means food preparation and having family over, and right, we get busy, and we do our thing, and especially the women, it's like, okay, I got to get all it ready, and then we have Christmas Day, and it's like maybe we have a couple of hours where we kind of relax over a meal, and it's all right, now we got to wash up, and and it kind of gets lost in the scrum. The real meaning of it just gets completely submerged, doesn't it? So
yeah. So, for these people who toil and toil, believing that sacrifice is love, must learn that sacrifice is separation from love.
well, if you're feeling like you're sacrificing and hardly done by, then you need to let that go.
Yes.
Do it with love or don't do it. If you can't cook a meal with love, then okay, this year we're getting takeout for Christmas. Or whatever, because it's not about someone sacrificing themselves to for everyone else. It's actually about love and joy and peace and connection, and I think too often that gets lost. So yeah, well, we'll see. Putting it out there, Spirit, if it's meant to be, then
Yep.
it will be. And if it's not quite yet, then we shall see.
Okay.
All right, so happy with number 4?
Mm.
You did a bit of summary of that.
Yeah. Right. And I'm going to make
5.
number 5 my last one. I really want to go to bed. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
No problem.
As long as you perceive the body as your reality, I will be tired and want to go to bed. No.
So long will you perceive yourself as lonely and deprived.
Yes. So long will you, yeah, right. And so long will you also perceive yourself as a victim of sacrifice, justified in sacrificing others. For who could thrust heaven and its creator aside without a sense of sacrifice and loss? So, are we doing translation as we go along? Yeah.
We can do. Okay.
Just in sentence 3, who could thrust state of pure formless awareness? And its creator.
It's source.
Aside without a sense of sacrifice and loss. And who could suffer sacrifice and loss without attempting to restore himself? Yet how could you accomplish this yourself when the basis of your attempts is the belief in the reality of the deprivation? Deprivation breeds attack, being the belief that attack is justified. And as long as you would retain the deprivation, attack becomes salvation and sacrifice becomes love. Wow. Attack becomes awakening? No.
Attack becomes, so attack becomes, he's talking in a specific context here.
Yeah.
Attack becomes
Very good. Yeah.
believe will save you.
Yeah.
And sacrifice becomes love.
Yeah.
So the insane, ego is just trying to get us to believe that attack will save us.
Mm.
The more we attack, the safer we're going to be.
Mm.
And this is going to make us safe and protect us. I mean, it's totally bonkers and insane, but this is what it leads to. If you believe in separation, so any deprivation, any sense of sacrifice, breeds attack, doesn't it? And you just notice that whenever, so let's talk about the sticky issue of money. Whenever two people are arguing over money, the scarcity of money, what does it do? It breeds attack. Being the belief that attack is justified. As long as you retain the deprivation, attack becomes what you believe will save you, and sacrifice becomes love. As long as you want to retain, so let me do that. Want to retain the deprivation, attack becomes what you believe will save you, and sacrifice becomes love. Okay, you want to read it through? Let's make sure we got everything.
As long as you perceive the body as reality, so long will you perceive yourself as lonely and deprived, and so long will you also perceive yourself as a victim of sacrifice, justified in sacrificing others. And who could thrust the state of pure formless awareness and its source aside without a sense of sacrifice and loss? And who could suffer sacrifice and loss without attempting to restore himself? Yet how could you accomplish this yourself when the basis of your attempts is the belief in the reality of the deprivation? Deprivation breeds attack, being the belief that attack is justified. And as long as you want to retain the deprivation, attack becomes what you believe will save you, and sacrifice becomes love.
Yeah.
Right.
Just give a little summary of that.
Well, believing in the body as real will mean I become a victim. The body can be attacked, and that's what I believe in. And in this state of lack, in believing in lack, I attack others and suffer a sense of loss. Yeah.
So we thrust aside the state of pure formless awareness. Then we feel like something's missing. So we feel a sense of sacrifice and loss, because you can't thrust aside, this true state, what you really are, not experience the sense of sacrifice and loss. And then the ego says, which is the belief in sacrifice and loss, says, well, you need to restore yourself. Something's wrong, so let's try to fix it. But how could you accomplish this yourself when the basis of your attempts is the belief in the reality of the deprivation? So the reality of the separation and the sense of loss, that thought system will only breed attack. So let's say you go, well, I'd like to try and equalize this. I'm feeling less than, so I'm trying to then big myself up. I go into grandiosity. I try and be better than others. I get competitive. All of this breeds attack because you're trying to equalize the situation, but from the basis of the belief in the reality of the deprivation. So you can't solve the problem at the same level of thinking at which it was created.
Right. So this is the problem on the level of form. Trying to solve the problem.
You're trying to solve it. The ego is saying, okay, it recognizes that all is not well, but it's trying to solve it from within the thought system of deprivation, of sacrifice.
Yes.
Which then breeds attack. Okay, well, I want to be, the typical way is, okay, well, let's try and big myself up. Let's try and go on the whole personal growth movement is really about trying to achieve something more, become bigger, a bigger self. You're gonna make money. You're gonna be more important in the world. People respect you more. But that actually breeds attack.
Yeah.
Really, because you are now trying to be bigger than other people. There's and if that's your attempt, then you're actually attacking the quality of the one self, and people will see that, and then you get this counter reaction of, oh well, he's got a big ego, or she's arrogant, and that breeds attack because it's coming from the place of deprivation, because you're trying to fix the problem. This is what, if you watch Marisa Peer's video, this is what all the celebrities try to do. They try to fix the problem from the belief in scarcity and deprivation. I'm not enough, And so now I will try and become enough, but I haven't really let go of my belief that I'm not enough. And so this breeds attack, ultimately self-attack, because in the end they're not very happy, and they end up doing very self-destructive things out of that. So this is what he's trying to say. Being the belief that attack is justified. As long as you want to retain the deprivation, which is the belief in separation, attack becomes what you believe will save you, sacrifice becomes love. So we think that the ego's attempts, the grandiosity, trying to become something more, trying to big ourselves up, is actually what's going to save us.
Yeah.
And the sacrifice becomes love. Oh, now I find a special relationship, which is actually asking me to sacrifice my true self, and this becomes what love is to me.
Mm.
Or
It's
or I love something else. I love a substance. We get addicted to a substance, and I have a relationship with that. And actually, that's what I think is love, but actually, it's sacrifice. I'm actually losing my true self through this. It's very. I mean, the ego is so twisted, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
And distorted. But if you can see it for what it is, and you can correct it and go, okay, well, it's actually quite simple. When he breaks it down like this, these are the ego dynamics, then I don't need to believe in this anymore. It's a load of nonsense. And it all starts with that one false idea in the mind that I'm separate from love. I'm not, perfect love. I have my own identity.
Yeah.
That's the problem, which then leads to all of the subsequent problems, which is now unpacking for us and saying, okay, so this is how now the ego works. Okay, so any comments, questions on that?
I'm going to finish the rest of this chapter because it's really, I want to see where he goes with all this.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, I was going to give you a little challenge and say just stick with it and see if you can give it over to the spirit and go, okay, so I'm tired, but it's not really me doing it. I'm going to ask for another presence to come in and just help me to do it. Because in that, when you're really tired, it kind of breaks down the ego self, and you can actually really just surrender into the oneness. That's what I find anyway. It's like, okay, well, I've gone as far as I can go. Iona's gone as far as she can go tonight, so something else has got to take over, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so number 6.
I didn't say I would accept the challenge.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted to.
No, I said I was going to read the rest of the. No,
yourself.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were saying you'd carry on.
No, I said I would read the rest of the text like tomorrow. I don't know if it. Yeah. I really want to stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who wants to stop is my question.
Yeah.
Who wants to stop?
Iona, the body who feels itchy and uncomfortable. It's too hot in here. I'm thirsty. I really want to lie down. The screen is too bright, etc.
Oh, okay. Can you let that go and carry on or not?
Kenneth's laughing. I'm going to bloody hand over to you. Stop laughing.
Why? I tell you what, Iona, go get yourself a cup of tea, have a break for 2 minutes, and then see how you feel. I'm gonna get a cup of tea, so I'll pause the recording and let's see what. Okay, pause the recording. Alrighty. So, how are you doing, Iona? You can carry on, or?
I'm conflicted. Hang on a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And my ego's kicking off.
Excellent. That's the whole point. Because when you get to the limits of the ego, then what's got to take over is the spirit. So why don't we see if we can do one more? Just
Okay.
one more, and you might just find something miraculous happens. You never know. Okay, so let's just start this recording again, and resume recording. Okay. So I'll start this. All right, so we're at number 6. So read it and we'll translate. I think these are actually a bit shorter. They're not too bad. Looks like 8, 9, looks like 10. Well, so it's 10. This one's 10 paragraphs.
Yeah, it was that.
See how we go. Do one more. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it that?
So is it that in all your seeking for love, you seek for sacrifice and find it, yet you find not love? Is it impossible to deny what love is and still recognize it? The meaning of love lies in what you have cast outside yourself, and it has no meaning apart from you. It is what you prefer to keep that has no meaning, while all that you would keep away holds all the meaning of the universe and holds the universe together in its meaning. Unless the universe were joined in you, it would be apart from God, and to be without Him is to be without meaning. Yeah.
Okay, it would be apart from
Formless awareness.
formless awareness, perfect love. And to be without it is to be without meaning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Not much to translate there, so thoughts on that?
can I see the first two sentences? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like him to throw a curved ball and ask if you're actually seeking for sacrifice. Because maybe the belief is that you don't deserve it. Yet you do not find love. It is impossible to deny what you do not find love in that seeking. Okay, so it's impossible to deny what love is and still
Still recognize it.
yeah. So we always remember it. The meaning lies in, but we've cast it outside ourselves, and it has no meaning apart from you. I don't really understand it. It is impossible to deny what love is and still recognize it. Right. So we deny
it, but we can't recognize it.
We can't recognize
The
it.
denial precludes the recognition. Recognize means rethink.
So that's an impossibility because we've cast it out and it has no meaning. What now it's cast out. But what I have chose to keep has no meaning. And what I have chosen to keep is a sacrifice, I guess, while all you want to keep away holds the meaning of the universe. So everything is meaningless in my action.
Now, universe, I wonder if we should translate that. What do you think? Because actually what he means, it's not the physical universe at all. It's the meaning of the of reality. It holds all the meaning of reality, maybe?
Mm-hmm. The universe, reality. All the meaning of the universe. Is the universe everything? Not not just
The
this.
universe is not the physical universe.
No.
So I think it's confusing for people.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
most people will look at that and they'll go, "Oh, he means the universe as, the physical universe." But he's not actually. He doesn't use universe in the physical sense at all.
Yeah.
It's universe is the universe of God, of truth. It's the other reality. It's another name for this other world, other reality, heaven. So all the meaning of reality and holds reality together in its meaning. I think that's
That's better.
going to be a more understandable translation. Unless reality
Were joined in you, it would be apart from pure formless awareness of perfect love. And to be without it is to be without meaning.
universe were joined in you. Unless reality were joined in you, unless the universe were joined in you. Unless reality, how about was in you?
I was just going for that.
Unless reality were in you, unless reality were in you, it would be apart from pure formless awareness of perfect love, and to be without it.
And what does the it refer to?
The it is the pure
joining of reality and pure formless awareness.
To be apart from pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is our translation for God. To be without Him, God, is to be without meaning.
Yes.
So to be without it is to be without meaning.
Yeah.
But that it could equally apply to reality.
Yeah.
The reality is pure formless awareness of perfect love. So it's one reality.
Yeah.
It is to be without meaning. Okay, nice one. So do you want to summarize that? Can you summarize?
I'm seeking sacrifice, and even though I believe I'm seeking for love, I find sacrifice. Is he saying that as a state of, as an actual, is he saying that absolutely categorically? Or is he asking me, so it is that in all your seeking for love, you seek for sacrifice and find it?
So it is related to previous.
Yes, related to the previous paragraphs, because I'm seeking for the small offerings. That's right, the scraps of friendship.
You want to retain the deprivation. Attack becomes leave or save you.
Yes.
And sacrifice becomes love. So really this all leads into the idea of the special relationship.
Yes.
That you seek for love, but actually you seek for deprivation.
Yes.
The love is special love, not a holy love. And so it is in all your seeking for love. You think of, most people, all this dating and stuff that goes on, crazy. They're just seeking for love. Oh, so, I'll find someone else, and that's going to give me the love I seek. But actually, they seek for sacrifice because they're seeking from their separate self. They're seeking love, and you can't find love in your separate self. It's not possible. And then, of course, they find it. The special relationships never live up to.
Yeah.
So they do not find it. It is impossible to deny what love is and still recognize it. So we cast it outside. We prefer a special love relationship instead, and this love, divine love, now has no meaning to us. But actually, what we prefer to keep, special love, that has no meaning. Well, all that you want to keep away, this divine love, holds all the meaning of reality and holds reality together in its meaning, because true reality is the merging of the Father and the Son, the source and its extension. That's all. There is no love but God's. That's what love is. That awareness is love, and nothing else is love. Special love isn't love. It's actually sacrifice and deprivation in disguise.
Yeah.
Unless reality were in you, it would be apart from pure formless awareness of perfect love. And to be without it, pure formless awareness of perfect love, to be without this love, maybe be without this love, is to be without meaning. They're saying, this whole thing, this whole dream of separation, you've cast aside love, you've believed in an illusion of love. Now you think that love is nowhere, and you're seeking for love in deprivation and sacrifice, in the domain of that. Well, you just can't find it. How are you ever going to find love in sacrifice? This is not going to happen. But the ego continues to tell you that you can do it. So within this red scrum, which this is where most people are trying to find it. So they're trying to find it in all of this: guilt, sin, the idea of separation, the guilt, the sin, the fear, concept of a fearful, wrathful God, accusation, blame, and attack of other people to try and offload your guilt. And then they go, oh, but within all of this, I can have special love. And that's going to save me.
Yeah.
And so I seek for some kind of love in the domain of the ego's delusion and its hatred. And in doing that, I deny love further. I cast it aside, and because I'm pursuing something that's just part of the whole construct. And I'm not really seeking outside of that. So we can't do this. We can't pursue a special kind of love and also accept divine love. That's one or the other. We have to let that go in order to allow the awareness of God, love, oneness, pure formless awareness to arise again in our awareness. It's one or the other again. Okay, so happy with number 6? So have you got a second wind? Can you carry on?
Let's go.
Yeah, well done. Otherwise, I have to do it on my own.
You talk to yourself.
I just decided yesterday. So Sally left after paragraph 1, and I'm like, well, the session, I want to finish it. So I've got a complete session. Otherwise, it's like one paragraph I want to complete it with the translation. So that's what I did. Okay. So then it's there as a recording. If someone listens to it, it's like, okay, there's the whole thing. So the whole deal. So yeah. We continue into the night as mighty companions.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think we're doing some pretty profound work here.
Yeah, I know. And it's fine. It's okay. In the holy instant.
Surrender.
Surrender. Yeah. In the holy instant, the condition of love is met. Where minds are joined without the body's interference, and where there is communication, there is peace. The Prince of Peace was born to re-establish the condition of love by teaching that communication remains unbroken, even if the body is destroyed, providing that you see not the body as a necessary means of communication. And if you understand this lesson, you will realize that to sacrifice the body is to sacrifice nothing, and communication, which must be of the mind, cannot be sacrificed. Where then is sacrifice? The lesson I was born to teach, and still would teach to all my companions, is that sacrifice is nowhere and love is everywhere. For communication embraces everything, and in the peace it reestablishes, love comes of itself.
Okay.
Right.
Doesn't need much translation, that one. So
no.
Unpack that from the top. In the holy instant.
Yes.
Condition of love is met.
The minds are joined without the body's interference, about the belief in separation. And in this holy instant, there is peace, perfect communication.
Where there is
all the other paragraphs have been really, really describing the holy instant.
Yeah.
Yeah. That merge,
instant
that
is when
perfect
unification happens. Yeah, you unify with with your source, and all of your companions who are one in the same source.
Yeah. Yeah. The Prince of Peace was born. The Christ. Do you translate Prince of Peace?
I don't know. He doesn't use it very often.
I think this is only the second time.
Yeah, the Prince of Peace, because that was his title, wasn't it? As
Yeah.
Yeshua was born to establish, if you understand. So that's him.
Yeah.
Prince of Peace. We could leave it the messenger of peace instead of the Prince of Peace. Prince of Peace. It's a biblical reference because he was called the Prince of Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know. What do you think? Should we leave it? Prince of Peace.
Messenger of Peace. I like messenger.
So, how about I as the messenger of peace?
That was my next question. It's him who's talking, isn't it?
Yes, he's referring to himself as Yeshua.
Himself in the third person.
Yeah, I as the messenger of peace. I, comma,
Yeah.
as messenger of peace. Was born to re-establish the condition of love, teaching that communication remains unbroken even if the body is destroyed, referring to the crucifixion.
Yeah.
Provided that you see not, that you do not see.
Mm-hmm.
You do not see the body as the necessary means of communication. Right? So don't think that the body is the necessary means of communication.
Yeah.
When you have a mind, your mind is the means of communication.
Yeah. And if you understand this lesson, you'll realize that to sacrifice the body is to sacrifice nothing, and communication, which must be of the mind, cannot be sacrificed. Where then is the sacrifice? Yeah, the lesson is that I was born to teach and would still teach to all my companions is that sacrifice is nowhere. Sacrifice doesn't exist and love is everywhere. Wow.
Yeah.
Communication, perfect communication embraces everything, and in the peace it reestablished, love comes of itself. So this is removing all the blocks to love's presence.
Yeah. The peace that reestablishes love comes of itself.
Yeah.
So again, saying, look, if you can let go of this belief in sacrifice, which is a deep-seated belief of the ego, that's the foundation of its identity. I had to sacrifice love in order to exist. But actually, sacrifice is nowhere. So we could say sacrifice does not exist, if you think that's clearer.
Yeah, and love is everywhere.
Sacrifice does not exist. So even in the extreme case of sacrifice, his body is being sacrificed. He still doesn't believe in sacrifice. That was the message of the crucifixion. To sacrifice the body is to sacrifice nothing. That was really his master teaching. His whole life led up to that final teaching where he said, "Okay, I'm gonna teach this through this crucifixion." This profound lesson that even in the most extreme situation, sacrifice and sick and death and attack, seemingly symbolized by the crucifixion, you still don't have to believe in it.
Yeah.
That was his master teaching. And then the resurrection was like, well, the proof is in the pudding. Actually, the mind will resurrect. I will resurrect in the body so that you can see that what I'm saying is true. Because otherwise, no one would have believed it. They would have gone, well, he had some good ideas, but you know what? They got him in the end, and death got him, and he died. So just like everyone else. So, there it is. So he had to resurrect to show that this thought system was true and that it did overcome the ego entirely.
Mhm.
Pretty amazing teaching, really.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Again, to understand that would be part of the message of the Christmas message. To understand, okay, what's the meaning of the crucifixion then? Oh, hang on, you could do another marketing campaign at Easter. Now we're getting even better. You could go, okay, let's do another Holy Spirit inspired campaign at Easter to communicate the real message of the crucifixion and the resurrection. Okay, so any thoughts on that? You want to give a little summary?
The perfection of perfect communication in the holy instant, that where there is no sacrifice, just perfect love.
Yeah. What else is he saying?
Without the body's interference. Yes, that the communication is in the mind, in the joined minds, even if the body is destroyed, provided you don't see the body as a necessary means of communication. And understanding that it's not necessary, you realize that you can sacrifice the body and it's nothing.
And communication, which must be of the mind, cannot be sacrificed. So you can't actually break this communication of father and son, the source and its extension. Death, and nothing the body does, nothing that happens to the body can actually break this communication, because it's of the mind and it's of another level. It's beyond what the ego can actually sacrifice, that what the ego can sabotage entirely. And that's just the lesson he was born to teach. The mind is supreme. The mind is your true reality. The mind cannot die. The mind is eternal, and it doesn't matter what the ego throws at it. The worst apparent thing that can happen to you, crucifixion's pretty much up there in terms of what can happen to you as a body world. That doesn't matter. The mind is still the mind, and you're still one with your source and one with your companions, and there's no need to hate. He didn't curse them and hate them. He just said, forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they do. They're just totally confused because they think that sacrifice is salvation. Hence, they'll sacrifice me and they think that's somehow going to save them. And it's clearly not going to work. Okay, the lesson I was born to teach is that sacrifice does not exist and love is everywhere. So that's his simple message. He was born to teach, and he taught it in his final. He taught it throughout his life, but his master teaching was really the crucifixion and the resurrection.
Yeah.
That communication embraces everything. The peace that reestablishes love comes of itself. So this communication that then started happening afterwards, he came back briefly, and then he said, I leave you to the Holy Spirit, to his disciples. And that there was this Holy Spirit communication that then he said, well, we'll continue forever. That this comforter, the Holy Spirit, will be there, embracing everything, and in the peace that reestablishes love comes of itself. Which is how he fulfilled the message of peace, as the messenger of peace. This is how he taught it, for example. Okay, so happy with number 7. Number 8. We are number 8. Shortish one. Okay. Let no despair.
Let no despair darken the joy of Christmas, for the time of Christ is meaningless apart from joy. Let us join in celebrating peace. Are you going by? Yeah. By demanding no sacrifice of anyone, for so you offer me the love I offer you. What can be more joyous than to perceive we are deprived of nothing? Such is the message of the time of Christ, which I give you, that I may give it and return it to the Father, who gave it to me. For in the time of Christ, communication is restored, and he joins us in the celebration of his Son's creation.
Okay. Bit of translation.
Yeah.
Time of.
The true self is meaningless apart from joy. Let us join in celebrating peace by demanding no sacrifice for anyone, so you can offer me the love I offer you. What can be more joyous than to perceive we are deprived of nothing? Such is the message at the time of the true self. Which I give you, so that you may give it and return it to the source.
We make it your true self instead of the true self.
Mm-hmm.
That you may give it and return it to the Father, to the source.
Who gave it to which gave it to me? Which gave it to?
Gave it to me.
Yeah. In the time of Christ communication. For in the time of Christ.
There's a comma.
Yeah.
Oh,
In the time of your true self.
I wonder we should, the time of your true self, the time of
the awakening of your true self.
To your true self. The time of awakening to your true self. I'll make that. Because that's really what Christmas symbolizes. Awakening to your true self. Give you so that you may give it and return it to source, to the source which gave it to me.
For in the time of awakening to your true self, communication is restored, and it joins us in the celebration of its extensions. Beingness.
Yeah. Extensions. Okay, so read it from the top. Yes.
Let no despair darken the joy of Christmas, for the time of awakening to your true self is meaningless apart from joy. So, yeah, be joyful. Let us join in celebrating peace by demanding no sacrifice of anyone, for so you offer me the love I offer you. What could be more joyous than to perceive we are deprived of nothing? Such is the message of the time of awakening to your true self, which I give you, so that you may give it and return it to the source, which gave it to me. For in the time of awakening to your true self, communication is restored, and it joins us in the celebration of its extension's beingness.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is a time of celebration of joy because I awake to my true self, and no one is in sacrifice because I offer love, which is offered to me. Yeah. And in that perfect circle, there is no deprivation and no perception of any deprivation.
Mm.
And that is the message for, yeah, that's the message which I have been given, so I may give it and extend it and ultimately return to source, which in turn gave it to me.
Mm.
Communication is restored, and it joins us in the celebration of its extension's beingness. So it's all joy at awakening.
Mm. And that's the source of joy.
Yeah,
The joy of
yeah,
awakening, the celebration of our oneness, that we are the one self, we are the true self.
yeah.
We share that, and so there's this perfect love that's
Uh-huh.
we're awakening to, and it's a celebration of its extension's beingness. This is what
Yeah.
Christmas is about, of the fact that we have this eternal life, eternal beingness. And so all of the commercialization of it is a complete
It's a
departure
travesty. It's a
from the
travesty.
true meaning of what it is. Yeah, absolutely. So it's been hijacked. Christmas is like the ego does everything. It's been hijacked by the ego, but
Good.
can be
Okay.
can be restored
Mm.
with awareness. Okay, so let's
Mm-hmm.
move on. Two more to go, so not long.
Yep. Mm.
Keep going. So number 9, God offers thanks.
God offers thanks to the Holy Host who would receive him and lets him enter and abide where he would be, and by your welcome does he welcome you into himself. And what is contained in you who would welcome him is returned to him, and we but celebrate his wholeness as we welcome him into ourselves. Those who receive the Father are one with him, being host to him who created him. And by allowing him to enter, the remembrance of the Father enters with him, and with him they remember the only relationship they ever had and ever want to have. So pure formless awareness offers thanks to the right. So the Holy Host is true self.
Thanks to the Holy Host who would receive him. Thanks to the Holy Host, and lets him enter and abide where he would be. So I think that's the awareness, to the holy awareness. To the holy awareness.
That would receive it.
To the Holy Host who would receive him. Where is he talking about? So see, gets really confusing, doesn't it? Because he's talked about the Holy Host. That's a small h. And then over here, they had the capital H, didn't they? See, have a look at this. Where are we? Somewhere up here. There was the host. Where was that sentence with the host? That was number 2, I think. Go back to number 2. We have the host. He is host to God, recognizing that his host is one. But now, later on, he has host as small h, you see.
Oh, Lord.
So does he actually mean the same, host to God, as Christ? Is he referring to the Christ here? What do you think? God offers thanks to the Holy Host who would receive him. Therefore, offers thanks to the Holy Awareness that would receive it.
Oh, it's holy awareness, because the
Well,
Christ,
it's a small h, isn't it?
yeah, it's you and me. Yeah.
So I think that's why they've made it a small h rather than a big H.
Yeah.
The Holy Awareness that would receive it, that would receive it or experience it.
Experience.
Oh, would experience it. The Holy Awareness that would experience it. That the Holy Awareness that
Wants to. Yeah.
I don't actually like wants to implies, the desire, but it's stronger than would experience, I think.
Mm-hmm.
To experience. And lets it enter the Holy Awareness that wants to experience and lets it enter and abide where it would be, where it wants to be again.
Yeah.
So this pure formless awareness wants to be in our awareness. It wants to be our complete awareness, and our holy awareness wants to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
Holy awareness is the remembrance of oneness, the Holy Spirit. Are you welcome? Does it welcome? You unto itself. Into itself instead of does it welcome you into itself? Yeah. What is contained in you who welcome it is returned to it. In other words, it's one awareness. You're in that awareness, and that awareness is you, and you are that awareness. And so, yes, I've received it, but I've also returned to it. I've returned itself to itself. I'm giving that awareness, whole awareness. Ultimately, we merge into that total experience of it. But this is all training wheels. He's giving us, okay, well, this is like steps in the right direction to be taken.
Yeah.
Okay, and we got celebrate.
We celebrate its wholeness as we welcome it into ourselves. Those who receive the source are one with it, being host to it who created them. And by allowing it to enter, the remembrance of the source enters with it. And with it,
and the it is God, pure formless awareness. So maybe we just need another pure formless awareness.
pure formless awareness.
Those who receive the source are one with pure formless awareness of perfect love. Being hosts to it. that created them. It which, who instead of which, it which extended them, allowing it to enter. The remembrance of the source enters with it and with. Maybe we can say being host to it, to extend it to them, allowing this presence to enter. Enters with it and with it, they remember the only relationship they ever had and ever want to have.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to read that from the top.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love offers thanks to the holy awareness that wants to experience it and lets it enter and abide where it wants to be. And by your welcome, does it welcome you into itself? For what is contained in you, who welcome it, is returned to it. And we celebrate its wholeness as we welcome it into ourselves. Those who receive the source are one with pure formless awareness of perfect love, being host to it which extended them. And by allowing this presence to enter, the remembrance of the source enters with it, and with it, they remember the only relationship they ever had or ever want to.
Let's call it awareness, shall we? So
Yes.
using that. Allowing this awareness to enter, the remembrance of the source, enter with it, and with it they remember the only relationship they ever had and ever want to have. So this is the one relationship with our source, creator, that we want to have. We want no others. So again, an indirect reference to the holy holy relationship versus the special relationship.
Right.
Remember, the only relationship they ever had and ever want to have. So we actually only ever want to have this relationship, if you like, with our source. That's the only thing we truly need. And relationships with people and things and objects in this world are the ego's substitute for this divine reality.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, any thoughts on that? Summary of that, if you want to.
well, thanks are extended to the awareness that wants to experience pure formless awareness of perfect love, to let it enter and abide. And in this welcome, I am welcomed into myself. Because I am pure form, I contain pure formless awareness. It's all rolled into one.
It is my awareness, this
it is my awareness.
It's my true awareness. So if I invite it in, then the remembrance of my source, which is this awareness, enters with it, and with it they remember. So they remember, what's this they there? The remembrance of the Father enters with him, and with him they remember. Those who receive, okay, it's talking about this, those who receive the Father are one with him, and with him they remember. So, and with it they remember, those who receive the source. They remember the only relationship they ever had and ever want to have. The only, how about real relationship? Or does it need that?
I think it does for wider understanding.
Okay. The only real relationship. So as opposed to special relationship, I have a real
Yeah.
relationship between the source and its extension. They ever had and ever want to have. So saying actually this relationship between myself that seems to be separated and my true awareness, this is the only relationship I want to have. In that relationship, there's a merging, there's a oneness. Ultimately, I realize I was never separate. I was never separate from myself.
Yeah.
I'm again one.
Yeah.
And
the wholeness is celebrated.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of relationship even collapses. In
Mm.
perfect oneness, there's no relationship. It just is. It's a state of pure formless awareness of perfect love in which no relationship is really relevant. But this is how we get there. It's like, oh, okay, so if I have that relationship with myself, so my awareness merges with my source, and my true self is part of this, then this is the way back to ultimately the awareness that, well, there is only one awareness. That's it. It's one unfluctuating, unchanging awareness that is behind all of this, all of the miscreations of the ego are done away with if we just enter into this awareness. So it's kind of simple. It's just oneness, but he's spinning it in different ways and going, okay, well, there's the self, the true self, and then there's pure formless awareness, perfect love, and then he enters the mix as Yeshua, who's the teacher. In the end, he's saying, look, this is all one awareness, and you're going to come in to that awareness. And this is the only real relationship between these seemingly different things that you ever had and you ever want to have. Eventually, that relationship collapses into one experience, and there's no longer a sense of any separate self relating to another separate self. That just doesn't exist anymore. Okay. So number 9, and let's do number 8. Okay, so happy with number 9? Okay, and so last lap of the 3-hour race. 3-hour, not really a race, 3-hour endurance test or something. But you see that actually in this practice, in doing it, this is part of the spiritual practice.
I know.
That it actually does start to break down the ego, and you commit on a level that you didn't think you were capable of. So I actually can do that. I just give myself over.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just copy this, number 10. Let's see. Let's keep it alternatively. Just delete all of this. Okay, so alternatively, if you want to read, shall we translate as we go?
Sure. Yeah. This is the time in which a new year will soon be born, from the time of true,
your true self.
True self. I have perfect faith in you to do all that you would accomplish. Nothing will be lacking, and you will make complete and not destroy. Say then to your companion, there's a brother in number 4.
Yeah. Correct, well spotted. Companion.
I give to you the remembrance of oneness as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. Right. In the name of my freedom, I choose your release because I recognize that we will be released together. So will the year begin in joy and freedom. There is much to do, and we have been long delayed. Accept the holy instant as this year is born, and take your place, so long left unfilled in the great awakening. Make this year different by making it all the same, and let all your relationships be made holy for you. This is our will. Amen.
Oh, nice.
Lovely.
That's a nice New Year's message as well, isn't it?
Amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so any thoughts on that?
Say then to your companion, yeah. Extend what has been given to you, which pure formless awareness has given to me. Say to your companion, I give to you the remembrance of oneness as part of myself, as I recognize it in me. I know you will be released unless I choose differently. I miscreate with my ego, the ego mind, and imprison myself. In the name of my freedom, I choose your release because I recognize we'll be released together in the name of my freedom. So I free myself, I free you. The world is free. Yeah.
We're released from the thought system, right? The thoughts and emotions of the ego, the belief in separation.
Yeah.
We release ourselves together. So if I choose your release and I forgive and I don't hold a grievance and I see you as the one self, then I release myself because I have that experience of being one with my true self again.
Yeah.
I recognize that, as I release you, so I let go of any of my negativity towards you, then I experience the freedom that comes from that. Choose your release. Recognize that we will be released together. Yeah, happy with that. Keep release. Choose your release. And my freedom, I choose your freedom because I recognize we will be free together. Release instead of freedom. What do you think?
In the name of my release, I choose your release. Is that what you
right. In the name of my freedom, I choose your freedom.
Aha. Yes.
We will
yes.
be free together.
Yes.
Of together. How about that?
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
Because then he's using freedom consistently. Choose your freedom because I reckon.
Quite so. Yeah.
Free together.
Yeah.
All the year begin. Joy and freedom. So the year will begin. How about that? So the year will begin in joy and freedom. There's much to do, and we've been long delayed. We've been delayed long. Or long delayed. What do you say? It doesn't make that much difference. We've been long delayed. We've been delayed long. Yeah, I think
I like long delayed.
long delay is better.
Yeah.
Accept the holy instant as this year is born and take your place so long left unfulfilled in the great awakening. That doesn't any translation. Make this year different by making it all the same. That's an interesting statement.
I mean, one love, one only love.
So we make it different because we dedicate it to one self, one love, and we make it all the same. We're going to perceive everything from this one frame of reference. So it's all the same. It's one awareness permeating our experience, and so that the year is very different. It's not going to be a year of separation again and pandering to the ego. It's going to be a year of awakening to our true self.
Yeah.
That all your relationships be made holy for you. So this holy. It's difficult to get a translation for holy in that context. Isn't it? That all your relationships be made holy, be made pure, be made into pure formless awareness for you.
Yeah.
But it's quite difficult to put that into one word. Made holy. So should we keep holy? I think we decided that.
So we've kept it
This
before.
is
Yeah.
our will. Amen. So
Great.
I'm into that. Happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comments, questions on the last one?
Yeah.
A little summary.
I release myself. I free I choose my freedom. In my freedom, I release you into your freedom.
We'll be free together.
Free
Such a
together.
simple message. It's such a
Yeah.
simple message, but
Yeah.
that is the truth. It's a very simple message. We're free together. So as I see you, I see myself, and this is our will.
Yeah.
Unite in this awareness and rejoice and be happy together as we journey back to God. Okay, so key message of the section. Can you do it? Last lap. So 2 or 3 sentences. Key message of the section.
The key message of this section is that love is everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Love is everywhere and sacrifice.
Everywhere.
Sacrifice.
This is the awakening of the true self. That Christmas is the awakening. True meaning of Christmas is the awakening of the true self.
Yeah. And so let's put that in at the start.
Yeah.
Is the awakening to the awakening to
The true self.
My true self. My true self. And that true self which unites my awareness with
Yeah.
pure fullness of awareness of perfect love that is everywhere. Sacrifice. So sacrifice does not exist. Okay. I'll read that and just see if there's any change. Let's go on to the next one. So what else? And then something about my brothers. I give you to the remembrance of oneness as part of myself. So as awakening which unites. Everywhere, so sacrifice does not exist. And then
The freeing of the brothers.
Yeah. That's the other key point.
Yeah.
In the name of my freedom,
I choose your freedom.
choose the freedom of
Yeah.
my freedom. I choose the freedom of all my companions because I recognize that we will
We are,
be together.
or that we will be, or that we are freed together.
In the
So
name of
it's
my freedom, I choose your freedom because I recognize that we are freed together. Yeah,
nothing doing it in the instant.
yeah. Because I recognize that we are freed together. Yeah, will be puts it into the future, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Use the freedom of all my companions because I recognize that we are freed together in this holy instant of release.
Mm.
In this holy instant of release, and then maybe which Christmas, which is part of the true meaning. True meaning of Christmas. Okay, do you want to read it from the top? See if that makes sense?
The key message of this section is that the true meaning of Christmas is the awakening to my true self, which unites my awareness with the pure formless awareness of perfect love that is everywhere, so sacrifice does not exist. In the name of my freedom, I choose the freedom of all my companions because I recognize that we are freed together in this holy instant of release, which is another big part of the true meaning of Christmas. Yay.
Okay, maybe in the name of my freedom, in the pursuit, in the
Act.
yes, awareness of my freedom, pursuit of my freedom, in the service of my freedom. How about that? That's nice. Like that?
Yeah, I do.
The service of my freedom, I choose the freedom of all my companions because I recognize that we are freed together in this holy instant of release. And maybe if that needs a full stop, this joining for ultimate freedom of joining for the ultimate freedom of the mind, joining for the ultimate freedom of the mind is another big part of the true meaning of Christmas. It's joining with other people in the service of the ultimate freedom to bring about, to facilitate the ultimate freedom of the mind, to free my mind, The belief in separation is an essential. Another big part is an essential part. Another essential to Christmas. So I'll just read the last sentence.
This joining with other people to free my mind from the belief in separation is another essential part of the true meaning of Christmas.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
And we got to the end. Well done. Woohoo. Kenneth, give her a hug.
He's gone to bed.
Has he? Has he abandoned you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm out of here.
Yes.
I'm going
Yeah.
to bed.
He's out of there.
Oh,
So thank
okay.
you.
So well
Okay.
done. Yeah, it's probably too late for it. Do you want to do a med or not? I'm too tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little med.
But how little is your little med?
I can keep it to 5 minutes if you want.
Please keep it to 5 minutes, yeah, or else I'll just clock off and that'd be sad.
Drop off in the med.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the worst thing in the world, is it? I've left John a few times, and he's just like, I'm like, okay, bye, John.
Oh, I think I did that once too, yeah.
I just
Yeah.
left you.
Yeah.
You'll come out of it when you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just do a
Okay.
5-minute med on the last paragraph, actually, because that's
Yeah, good.
there's a nice
Okay.
thing to say here, isn't it?
Nice.
Okay, so just close your eyes. Just with your breath, take a nice deep breath in. Just breathe in the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the remembrance of oneness. And you say to someone who comes to mind, anyone, say to this mighty companion, I give you to the remembrance of oneness as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. And so in the name of my freedom, I choose your freedom, because I recognize that we are freed together. And with that, just exhale. And a sense of just blowing away any idea of separation from a person. Say concept in your mind, that's all. Nothing really is there. So in knowing that you are released with your brother, you choose your freedom along with theirs, and that we are free together. Cannot release another person without releasing yourself. So the fast track to your total freedom is to practice freeing others. You free them by letting go of your misperceptions of them. So give thanks for that. That this year, this holy year of awakening, is unfolding for you moment by moment. You experience the joy and the freedom of it. Breathe those into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in joy and freedom. There is much to do. You have been long delayed, says Yeshua. So accept the holy instant. Take your place so long left unfulfilled in the great awakening. So breathe this in, breathe in the acceptance of this divine plan of awakening, great awakening. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Accept the holiness that's within you, this divine presence. So just feel it, connect with this deep presence, this freedom. This is the great awakening that's happening right now in real time for you and for everyone else. So Yeshua leaves us with the advice to make this year different by making it all the same. So you see everyone and everything in the same light, the light of this true awareness. You let all your relationships be made holy for you. As you let go of all negativity, all darkness. This is my will. Say, this is my will. This is my will. So it is said, so it is done. Say amen to that silently in your mind. Close it out. Amen. And just for a minute, sink into this holy awareness. Experience the silence. In the silence, experience the love, the gratitude for this joining of Father and Son. Just surrender into this deeply peaceful, blissful, and yet still some awareness, some alertness state. So just gently coming back to an awareness of this presence. On the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, notice the breath, stomach rising, the chest rising as you breathe in. Notice it extended out to all your brothers. Formally as breathe it in, connect with the source, love, and then exhale it out. Extend it to your brothers, knowing that as you extend it, you give it. As you give it, you receive it. On the count of 2, just notice feeling and touching the weight of your body pressing down into the sofa. Touching with your hands, maybe there's a subtle flow of air on your skin. Breathe in, notice. Feel that love, that gratitude extending out. You are one, all beings, all sentient beings. So you feel that connection, that gratitude, carry it with you for the rest of the evening, to your sleep and tomorrow. So it is said, so it is done. This is your will. Amen. And then 3, open your eyes. Just take 30 seconds to a minute to look around. So try and see that this deeper awareness, which you had when you closed your eyes, is still there. It hasn't gone away. This is always there, your true awareness. So carry this with you into your sleep, into tomorrow, and hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow afternoon. Thanks, Iona.
Thank you, Jono. Okay. Good night.
Well done for persevering.
Yeah, thanks for the encouragement.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to do it on my own.
I know.
It's hard work on your own. So yeah.